My favorite part was just hanging out with everybody else that had a shared passion. It was, don't get me wrong, like getting to experience like $150,000 motion rig was bonkers, right? I mean, I think we all agree that it's hard to put words to. You just have to experience something like that to be able to understand how it feels. But to just talk with people, especially, we were wearing our swag, the Chicane Podcast shirts, and people would just come up and be like, hey, I listen to you guys as I'm, doing my job.
This episode is brought to you by Trophy AI, the ultimate performance coach tool for sim racers. Hello and welcome to the Chicane Podcast, where we discuss all things in the sim racing world. I'm your host, Jason Rivera, and I'm joined here by Mr. Eric Kelly, Jeff Smart, and Mr. Michael Pagliaro from the Sim Racing Den, our honored guest here once again. How's everybody doing this week?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing well.
Still recovering, I think.
Dude, my voice, I apologize in advance. Feels like I'm going through puberty again.
I learned that I like hanging out with you guys in person better than virtually. Not that this is terrible, but having a
I was gonna say, no offense to y'all virtually.
an old fashioned or six with you guys is way better than doing it in
so much better
in virtually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, and it was good to finally see my, Eric. I've known Eric for 15 years, and we had that little clip on at the beginning in front of the hotel, and it was like I always knew him. Like it was like I've always hung out with him. It just meshed right away. It was like, oh yeah, what's up? Kind of like if I haven't seen him in a long time. It was great to see him, and behind the scenes, we had some interesting conversations, man, about everything, just everything in life. And it'd be 5 o'clock in the morning, and we have to get up to the Expo, and we're still chatting away. That might have been my fault, Eric. So my bad, because this guy was literally falling asleep. I'm like, wake up, bro. We don't have time. I don't have time to see you like this. You know what I mean? But I'm just ecstatic, and today we're here to.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, man. Today is our debrief, and I figured have the Michael from the Sim Racing Den with us once again. He's, he hung out with us for a good 80% of it, and that was another honor to shake his hand and realize how small I am next to him. So, so anyways, any announcements, Michael? Even Michael, anything you guys want to put out before we get into this debrief?
I just an announcement is for everybody. Like this is the start. Like the gaming expo in Chicago was the start of like just new products coming out. It gets crazy right now. That's why they kind of call it Crazy October or whatever you want to call it, sim racing industry, because there's already going to be a ton of more new products announced in Germany in, I don't know, 5 weeks or something like that, leading up to the end of the year and Christmas. That's kind of how it goes. So there are more things coming to the industry, which means more boxes showing up in the sim racing den. So I'm going to have a very busy time up until the holidays. Already a bunch of things were showing up while I was at the expo. So I had to kind of get back to work as soon as I got back.
Oh yeah, man. And guys, make sure you check out Michael's channel. We'll leave links to it below. You've been pushing out a lot of content, and this is why you're trying to prepare for the influx of things, which is great, right? It's great for a YouTuber creator like yourself, but then it's also great for you, the sim racer, to keep an eye on things that are releasing now on the market, which is awesome. It's exciting, especially seeing the amount of people that went there. But we'll get into that here in a second.
Yeah.
But as you can see, I have a DNR shirt on because I'm a little brokenhearted that DNR could not make the expo, and I figured I'd pay him homage by wearing his logos and his T-shirt, which is, it's a little tight on me, the European size,
You gotta go size up.
That's what it is, huh?
I'm hoping I can grow into mine. Like
what you mean, Eric?
Smaller.
Hey, what you mean?
What happened now? What happened?
Coming after me? I hear you.
Nah, man. I'm joking.
All right. Well, It's crazy to see you guys in the virtual, and when we just came back from the real world. So I'll get right into it. This year's Expo was amazing, and I'll go over with the first question to all of us. What was the travel experience like? We had people traveling from all over the world. Michael's coming from up north, Canada. We're coming from Hawaii, and Eric's coming from the East Coast, relatively closer than us. So I'll start with Eric. Eric, what was your experience like? Getting to the airport and the whole travel experience for you to get to the.
For me, it was great. My flight left at like 8:30 at night, so roads were clear. We got a little small airport here, so I was able to go straight in, catch my flight at a 2-ish hour flight, and that was.
Damn.
No, I'm thinking about when I
2-hour flight.
No, when I my fault. I'm thinking about when we came
airport.
back. My flight going up there left at like 1:30 or something like that, but it was still like pretty clear though. And then, like I said, about 2-hour flight, got there, and it took me almost as long to get the Uber. As the flight,
yeah.
Like
I was texting him. I was like, "Dude, are you here?" He's like, "I don't know where this Uber guy is."
Man.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We were all waiting for you to get there outside, like the welcoming committee.
Yeah, man. The terminals, like the Uber app, it was showing one terminal, but then once I went through and actually picked the driver, it was like, okay, now go to this other terminal. And it was like I had to get on a train and go to the other side of the airport. And I was like, this doesn't seem right. So
it's always something.
Turns out O'Hare is a huge airport.
Oh yeah.
It is, man.
Yeah.
What about you, Jeff? How was your? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Was that your first time flying in O'Hare? I'm assuming, or no?
For me, it wasn't. Actually, we flew into O'Hare when we were going to Montreal last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, O'Hare is one of the biggest airports in the country. It's international. It's massive. And before Jeff's segment, I had asked Jeff, "Hey, do you want to share Uber?" Because we literally got there 5 minutes apart, and he's like, "No, I'm in Terminal 5." That was like I don't know how long of a walk that
3
was.
miles away.
It's another couple city blocks away.
But go ahead, Jeff.
Sure.
Sorry to steal your thunder.
No. So me and you left Hawaii. We went. I think like I was the aircraft before you take off, or vice versa, out of Hawaii. I went to Vegas. We went our own way, then landed within like 4 minutes of each other back in Chicago, and then it was like, "Hey, where are you at? Wait for me. We'll get an Uber." Well, little did I know we were like 6 miles apart still. So all in all, not terrible travel. Once I got to to get an Uber and stuff like that, wasn't terrible. Time change
Uber
wasn't bad.
Miss an exit or something like that, and
I forgot about that. I got like this guy's first day on Uber, and he's like, "I can't find the spot." I'm like, "How are you doing Uber out of O'Hare and you don't know where the pickup is?"
That's crazy.
A lot of crazy adventures in Ubers. That definitely was the theme.
Oh my god, bro.
Chicago.
Some people that won't understand some of the stories. I can't even begin to explain them.
Yeah, they were fun because it was like, so who we're gonna get this time? Like what's gonna happen now? And sure enough, but yeah, Jeff. It wasn't that far away, so it was about a 20-minute drive, right? 15-20 minutes, depending on the traffic. But what about you, Mikey? How was your trip coming from Canada?
I'd like to say I have some crazy story, but honestly, it was one of the easiest flights and travel that I've ever had. And honestly, though, it was nice for the first time to actually have everything go smoothly. No flight delayed. So the flight from Toronto is super easy, 2 hours, right? And I go back an hour in time. So no time zone change. I just felt like I was in same place. Flight was on time. Uber driver from the airport to the hotel was efficient. I got there ahead of all you guys, and I was just bored walking around going, "Where's all my friends? No one's here yet." So I was just waiting for everyone to get there.
Hell yeah. But you made it there before us. So actually
I met up with Amir. So Amir texted me from SimPit
The
And
sim pit, yeah.
because I think we were talking before, he kind of knew when my flight was arriving. He's like, "Are you here?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm outside." So then he came out, and then we were just, shooting the shit, chatting, and then I said, "Yeah, let's just stick out here because I got Jason coming, Eric and Jeff are coming. And then we all just kind of met up outside, right? And that was it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I thought it was cool that you were kind of chilling outside waiting for us. I thought I was really nice. I don't know if that was the intention, but it was cool because I got there followed by Jeff, followed by Eric, and we was just shooting the stuff there, man. I got to meet the Amir, which was an awesome dude. Good to hang out with him. It's down to
He's a
earth
lot of
guy.
fun.
Yeah, he's a lot of
to
fun.
hang out with.
So many people, right?
It was weird when I pulled up in my Uber and, Jason, I see you, quite a bit, but then to see Mike, I was like, it was just weird to see people that you've watched their YouTube for hours and, we've been on the podcast, but then you see these people, like even Amir, I was like, what's he doing? Like seeing these people on YouTube, on your TV at home as you're, hanging out or whatever. And then you see them in real life. You're like, it's just weird. It was just like,
yeah, it's always a strange thing.
Yeah, it's just it's a hard to put
Yeah.
words to other than just weird to see people that you only know on a screen and then you see them in real life.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
like we're not AI like at all. I promise. We're bone and flesh here.
Yeah, I will say that it was refreshing because it's like we spend so much time doing the podcast and you spend time watching people and then to see you in person and it's like you kind of take in like the rest of your body because we just see the top half and it's like, okay, he's got legs, he's got feet.
Downloading.
He's the same guy. The same guy I've been talking to.
It's
same guy
so
on
weird
YouTube.
because people were coming up and be like, I didn't know you were so tall. And I'm like, I'm not that tall.
Yeah.
Bro, you're pretty damn tall, bro.
So it's just weird.
Which is good, man. I wish I was that tall.
Yeah.
You got that athletic build, man. I'm just an average dude, I guess. But it was still cool to, see people in person and, exchange conversations more naturally, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because on a camera, I'm only looking at one angle and, just being next to somebody, it's, I guess it's a human thing to hang out with other humans, instead
There's
of being
nothing
behind
like
the
that
camera.
face-to-face interaction, man. It doesn't go away. With all this technology, yes, it's different. Like I think we get to know each other better because we can physically see each other. If we were just talking on the phone all the time, it would be really strange. But yeah, it's something about that human interaction. And I think too, like when we're at home, like even Jay, when you and I talk on the phone, we're kind of in the middle of our day. There's other stuff going on, but we're all there for the same reason and have all the time in the world to hang out. So it's like, you're really dialed into just getting to know people, which is cool.
Yeah, because there's nothing holding you back. Like, oh,
No,
I gotta let you go. I gotta get dinner done, or I gotta use the washroom. Even though we did use the washroom quite a bit.
I forgot about that.
And Jeff and Eric, they're super busy. It's hard for me to. I would love to hang out with Jeff more, but he's got a lot going on. So to see him there, and there's no limit, and we're like, yo, we're gonna do the expo, and then we go out at night, and there's no other than the occasional check-in on the wives, of course. You got to mark that one off, just to keep it safe when you go back home. You still need to go back home. So
limited distractions.
I think that sums up the experience, right, of the travel and getting there. So we'll move on to the next one. I think Eric's going to take this one.
Yeah. So I think we kind of had stuff that we expected to see, some that was a surprise, but what was everybody's kind of favorite part of the expo? And I guess I don't know, I guess Mike, you're the guest. We'll let you go first because and also this wasn't your first expo, right? So you had some basis to compare as well, right?
In the US, right? In the US.
Second time going to an expo, obviously the first in North America because this was the first in North America. So, I mean, the first thing that I think surprised me is that, I had great expectations. I knew, we kind of knew getting to the to the last month or so beforehand, like who was going to be there. So, you know, there was a point in time where it was like, okay, there's not a lot of manufacturers locked into this. How is this going to go? And then you started seeing the names come in: Simicube, SimLab, you know, all these big names jumping on the roster. So I said, okay, this is shaping up to be something really incredible. So it definitely exceeded my expectations when I was there. I think my favorite thing was the variety of stuff that you had there and the variety of different setups, right? Just different sim racing setups. You know, if you try single monitors, ultra wides, Fanatec rigs, $100,000 motion rigs, custom rigs that look like F1, you know, kind of F1 cars. Like, so there was definitely a big variety of stuff there. And I think for the first year, like, what a great start. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well said. Well said. Who wants to go next?
I'll jump in.
There you
So
go.
my favorite part was just hanging out with everybody else that had a shared passion. It was, don't get me wrong, like getting to experience like $150,000 motion rig was bonkers, right? I mean, I think we all agree that it's hard to put words to. You just have to experience something like that to be able to understand how it feels. But to just talk with people, you know, especially, you know, we were wearing our swag, the Chicane Podcast shirts, and people would just come up and be like, hey, you know, I listen to you guys as I'm, you know, doing my job, doing my deliveries or whatever. And just, you know, coming up and talking to people. You know, I think we had, you know, Roy Wheeler, you know, at OG, we had Drew and a bunch of other people that made comments a bunch in our and email, you know, just meeting them in person. And then like, what a bunch of sickos we are, right? We go to the Expo, we go to dinner, and then we go somewhere else and we're all talking about sim racing. We go to, you know, places that's more sim racing. It was just awesome to interact with people, like-minded people with hobbies of sim racing, and just interacting all weekend with them. So that was my favorite part, was the people.
Okay.
Yeah, well said. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Jason, what was yours? I'm curious.
So it's that's a big part of it, was meeting the fans. It was a surprise to me that so many of them stopped us, you know what I mean? And it was a pleasure. It was every time. Jeff and I must have started the recording of the walkthrough maybe like 3 times, and I would get down to maybe halfway and I'd have to stop. But it wasn't like I was mad that I had to stop. It was like, oh, I'm stopping this. I can do this later. I can do this later. Let me say hi to the fans. Let me take pictures with them. And seeing how, you know, hearing their thoughts in person, you know, because, you know, when people comment on our videos and they leave a positive comment, it's just maybe a 1 sentence or maybe a few sentences, but when you see the passion in their eyes, that they genuinely love what we do and they don't want us to stop what we're doing. They depend on us. They trust us. That's one part. The second part of it is, I think that this expo legitimizes the Chicane Podcast, because now we have a lot more input on hardware that we technically don't own, right? All the simulation hardware that we put our hands on, we can actually speak on things a little that much, you know, more. And yeah, the people, hanging out with them, meeting personalities. I met Dan Suzuki, I met Michael, I met you know, Tony Kanan, and they were all smiles and just great people, very humble, like very nice, you know what I mean? And I think it was it's kind of like a family almost, I guess I'd say. Yeah, I felt like I was part of something. I felt like we belonged there, because, you know, people recognized us, and even if they did, they were interested. And, you know, I just wanted to say that it was emotional for me going in there. And every day I'm like I have this like how do you say this, like a little nervous excited. And I'm like, well, who's gonna be next today? And I'm like, man, this is incredible. And I just want to say that thank you, because I did my best to make sure I addressed everyone and gave everyone fair time. So that was my favorite part of the show.
I just want to add one thing to that. The one thing that I thought was so cool was like, I was never alone at any given point. Like even like I'd wake up in the morning and it would be somebody would be texting me going,
Someone me.
when are we meeting for breakfast? I'm down here.
Yo, we
Like,
got coffee.
Yeah, like whether it be Lawrence Souza or Amir or Ian from RSS, like we all just kind of found each other. And even like if somebody was not up yet, you're never sitting at a table alone. Like we would just, and then eventually we'd all end up in the same bar, 20 of us.
We had a group, right? It was like everybody was on the same page.
We were like an entourage, like there.
It was like 20 of us. Like we needed like 3 Ubers, like the big size ones. It was kind of cool, man.
You know, we had viewers sitting with us. Hey, come drink with us. Come eat with us.
Hell yeah,
like,
come on in.
It was just like there was such a
community
easy to like hang out with people. So like Jeff said, I think like the hobby brings us together, but I think, you know, when the hobby brings you together and everyone are just good people that want to have a good time and get to know each other, like it just was a recipe for just something amazing, right? So
100%.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it, Eric. What you got?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was back and forth. I kind of share, you know, the same feelings, especially about the fans and kind of understanding or seeing, you know, the impact that we have. Because like you say, we get emails and comments and things like that. But to see, you know, and I guess I have something to compare it to because nobody is, you know, nobody feels that way about a phone review, right? Nobody feels like, you know, I really appreciate what you do. Just the deep connection that people had with what we were doing and what it meant to them. That was definitely kind of overwhelming. But like another piece that was kind of like neck and neck was just being happy for how well it turned out, you know, for George.
Oh yeah.
You know, just kind of knowing what he put into it and, you know, seeing the support, you know, just happy that somebody who's passionate about this and was willing to take this risk and see it, you know, pay off for the most part. You know, that was awesome.
And we met his mom too. Remember, guys?
Yeah, mom, his wife, his son.
Mom, his wife.
You know,
they were all working.
His whole family supporting him. He had family friends there volunteering their time for free to make
super nice to his mom.
Yeah.
Like
I think there's and I mean
emotional, dude.
That's what I was going to add to is it's something to see, like when we were checking in and his mom was there and we were just talking with George and you could see his mom, you know, almost get a little emotional there of like to see what her son had done and, you know, and bring a community together was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, man.
Yeah. And the fact that they, you know, they support him, they believe in him, you know. His mom, I don't know. I got to ask her if she drives a GT3 Porsche on iRacing. I don't know what she's into. Maybe NASCAR or something. But you know, it didn't at that point. It didn't matter. His mom, and shout out to George. George's mom was just proud of her son, and that's it. That she was like, "I'm proud of what my son built. I don't care what's in this, you know, behind the doors. He built something." And it's you know, it's succeeding for its first time. So I you know, that did something to me a little, and that was like on the first day. I was like, damn, bro, like that's his mom there, like crazy, you know. And she didn't tell us that was his mom. It was, you know, she was very humble. She didn't mention anything like that. It was George like, hey, you know, did you meet my mom? I was like, no. He's like, yeah, he did. I was like, oh, snap. So
just really good people behind this, you know. Such a great guy. George deserves all the success with this, working hard. I mean, I was just honored to be invited as a special guest, and I just try, you know, to do our end of trying to promote it to the community. And there was, you didn't know what to expect in the beginning, but I think you could probably say the same thing. Like once you got to know George, like I'm like, I have no doubt this guy is going to pull this off.
We said it here many times.
This. Like the amount of energy, enthusiasm, work, like ethic that he was putting into this, and just the sheer passion for simulation and this
the right guy.
Gaming.
That's the right guy.
This was the guy. This was the guy that was going to make it happen.
100%. Yeah, I mean, since day one, he was, and he was a little. You know, he at the end we interviewed him twice. At the end, he was his energy levels were kind of high. And I loved that because I was like, yes, you got you got everything's kind of laid out now. It's working. You know what I mean? In the beginning, he was very passionate about trying to get more to fill the seats, and that place was packed, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to look at. So I made a video about the 3 days that we all spent there. For those of you listening to the audio version, please subscribe to the channel. And I just want to tell you that a lot of that footage was the first day we had an hour exclusive with the floors open to us, so there wasn't many people there. And again, I tried filming during Saturday. That was impossible. Impossible. So I had to focus, the walkthrough at the very end. So don't let that confuse you when you see the amount of people there. This place was packed. So
Yeah.
All right. So Jeff, I think you got the third one. Let's keep it going.
So now that we're Expo complete, what surprised you guys? What surprises did you have with new products? Did you think there was going to be more products? Did you think there was going to be less people, more people, anything? What surprises came along? Jason,
this is hard.
Put you on the spot.
Oh, me. Sorry. Okay, so
you lead it off here.
Do you want to know? It might not be as exciting for you guys.
No, send it.
But what surprised me was the facility, because when we interviewed the CEO of Simicube, which is another video that's going to drop, probably be out already. And I looked at the podcast room. I was like, wow, that is a very nice studio booth to make videos in. Because I was thinking a glass door with no labels on it. I don't know. I just could not envision the amount of attention to detail that George had. Then he had signs that had our Chicane Podcast on it. Like that was, you know what I'm saying, Eric? You was like, what? Look at that.
Like we walk up and we're the first slide on the first day. Our name up there at the top of the marquee is like, this is dope.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, okay. So we can work with this. We can make this look, it's going to look great. So then that's what really, the motion rigs, of course, surprised me, but as the host of the show here, that gave me the confidence, I guess, to put out a little more quality. I was happy. I guess that surprised me the most. That's honest truth. I don't want to lie and say it was a motion rig. That's the one thing that I can think of.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was very well done. I mean, even some of the other, people that had booths were talking about how well things were laid out logistically and how it's better than some of the other expos they've been to. And I mean, yeah, it was, you would never guess, oh yeah, this is this guy's first try. But
bro. In a million. There was like, this guy's been doing this for 10 years or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was insane.
Like the level of it was so polished.
Yeah, it had polish, dude. It had the colors. It had some fancy seats that, behind the scenes, we had to engineer something and it worked out great, Well, who's going next? What surprised you? Let's go with Eric. Eric, what surprised you, brother?
So the thing that surprised me was what I ended up being impressed with the most, right?
Okay.
So obviously a lot of first time using motion, first time active pedal, first time triples, and kind of after everything processed, what I was impressed with the most wasn't actually like the big kind of like theatrical stuff. It was the more reasonable, rigs. Like I thought I would leave, like we're in a $175,000 rig with triple 77-inch OLEDs.
Oh, wait.
And I'm like, and the whole time I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna go back home to my rig after this. This is gonna be crazy. But then, trying out some other more, human attainable rigs. It was kind of like, this feels a little bit better. This feels a little bit more, manageable, less like a theme park ride and more like something that I could use every day. So that actually surprised me that I wasn't as, I guess, impacted by the big, huge, crazy rigs.
Okay. That's an interesting one. Yeah. I think we'll maybe dig more into that here later. Mikey, what you got? Any surprises?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, all of you guys, actually on the same things, and I find that that's often the case with me too. Is that you kind of get gravitated to these crazy setups, but then you go, okay, I'm never going to be able to afford that. What am I really looking at here? And then you start finding some hidden gems in the show. But I think what surprised me honestly was some of the level of the booths. Like, for example, like, to put things in perspective, because I was in Germany last year, so I have that a bit to compare to this expo. Like, Simicube's booth at this show, thinking about it now after the fact, was much more over the top than what they brought to Germany last year, to be honest. They brought more with them to this show. Like, they had a couple rigs set up and things like that, but they didn't have full motion rigs. They didn't have the variety of different setups they had. So they really upped the game for this show, which shows, what I think that shows is that the hardware companies are taking this North American idea of an expo like super seriously, right? There was some heavy investment in terms of personnel. They had, the team that was there, all the people that I know from marketing and some people I don't. And then you had their president and founder, like, everybody was there and at the booth almost every day. Right. So there was a lot of investment there from not just Simicube, but a lot of the companies really came with their A game for this. Right. Like, if we're going to do this, let's do this right. So that surprised me a little bit, because I thought that it might be toned down from kind of the way they set themselves up in Germany. So I think that's really impressive. And I think if, going into the next year of this, you're going to see even more to that. Yeah.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
And GSI's booth was incredible. It had the underglow light that was shining through on the wheels.
Yeah.
Made it very easy to get nice pictures. Yeah, it was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, they know how to set up a booth.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And
What
again,
about-
they had a bigger setup, I think, here than they did in Germany, to be honest, if I'm remembering it correctly. Yeah. So that's really cool.
And this is data that we don't have, which is kind of good to hear for the listeners out there. That they're taking it serious is basically what I got out of that. Everyone's taking it serious. Like, hey, we need to come over there and we need to come correct.
Yeah. And we didn't get the toned down version. We got a little bit less, because obviously there's a bunch of companies that were missing from that, but we had.
I'm sure they regret it right about now.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people wanted to maybe see how this went before they dip into it, right? But some people just said, okay, let's just take the chance and let's see how this goes. And I heard a lot of positive things from the manufacturers that I spoke to, and we'd come back again, like, positive things to hear. So yeah.
All right, what about you, Jeff?
So the biggest thing that I took away as was surprised me was we talked to the guy, the gentleman behind Grid Engineering. We talked to Simicube, we talked to GSI, we talked to all these people, and it's not corporate. Like, these are all people. We talked to them how they got to wherever their product is, how they got there, and I don't want to say they all have the similar story, but it's all very much like, hey, I was into sim racing. I had this product that I liked it, but I wish it just did this. And they had a very special skill set, or they were driven to learn how to do it. And they tweaked it. They built it, 3D printed a new piece, and built something that what they exactly wanted. And then somebody sees a picture of it. Can you make me one? And then, I think the GSI goes like, yeah, I made 20 of them, and they went within 3 weeks. And then that was it. That was off. We were off and running, and the Grid Engineering, it's a very similar story, and my biggest surprise was how lack of corporate feel these people have, because it's driven by passion, not by the bottom dollar. They're just people with passion. All of these people started as sim racers. They didn't just graduate and like, I want to go chase the dollar and I'm going to join this. They're all just want to move sim racing forward, better products, more realistic. And it caught me by surprise that they all were like, no, I bought this wheel, didn't do exactly what I wanted. So I learned some stuff. I learned how to solder and et cetera. And built a better thing, and they sold. And next thing you know, I do this full time. And I think it was awesome that the amount of people that we talked to that quit their 9 to 5 to chase the company that they were building, whether it be GSI, SimGrid, all of these started from that. Yeah, absolutely. And that's just, I love that story of people that just like, no, I'm going for it. That was what my biggest surprise of it is, just the lack of corporate feel to these companies.
Yeah, that's
which
really
is
cool.
awesome.
That's so true. I'm so glad you brought that up, because like I've had conversations with people and they're like, if I wanted to just go straight to what business to get into to make the most money, it wouldn't be sim racing. But as a result, you go and do something with your passion and then you can make money from it. That's almost more rewarding, right?
Same thing a creator could say, right?
Yeah.
Mike? And we spoke about this. You could be a console gamer. You could play Fortnite and get millions of subs and make money.
I don't know who would watch me play Fortnite, but
you know what I'm saying? You
sell
probably
yourself too short.
You'll make Fortnite look cinematic and great and spectacular. You'll get it some different angles, close-up shots of some of the weapons.
That's such a good observation, though, Jeff. It really is, actually. I forget
100%.
how true that is.
This is why I love these
industry.
Because everyone's different, and having inputs like this, gathering together and putting it out, it's really awesome. It's really awesome because not everybody will take things for the same view, right? I'm just ecstatic. I'm ecstatic, and we'll go on to the next question, which is probably what a lot of our listeners want to know.
Let them have it.
Yeah.
What is the team here, everyone in this studio? Well, Michael, we already got a few reviews with Michael. So if you want to see any motion reviews, check out Michael's channel, SimRacing Den. But what do you guys think about motion? What was the takeaway here? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first here.
I'm processing.
So I'll start with what was the company that had the the OLEDs, the big money rig right at the front there?
Driven Dynamics.
Driven Dynamics. Unbelievable rig. Hard to put in words. I think we all were lost for words getting out of the rig, how to explain it.
I had this evil laugh to me.
I was
remember Michael was dying laughing. He was like, every time I was laughing on that thing. I didn't mean to, man. That was just emotion.
So it's hard to wrap your head around how circus ride it feels almost, right, to drive getting one of those. And then we got in the more capable ones that you could actually own as a normal dude, and I was surprised of how good they were compared to the extreme other end of the spectrum, if that makes sense. You have your normal 4 actuators. Sometimes I think less is more with motion. We talk about that a lot with a lot of haptics and stuff, but I think less sometimes can be more.
I agree.
It's just still there's such a barrier to get into it, to the motion. Maybe in a couple years that will, as technology progresses, that price point will come down. We had talked about there's, you can make your own with open source software and solder, and, it's still $2,500 and you're on your own with any problems that have to happen. And then it's probably like 2,000 more on top of that if you're going to buy probably the cheapest, 4 actuator system. It just, for me, I would love to have it. It just still, I don't see enough of the return on the investment for the price point. So but I do think, in summary, I guess less is more. I am a huge proponent of the bell tensioner,
which we will definitely get into, Jeff.
Okay, my man.
That is, stay tuned, guys, because we might have made a purchase or two. Not necessarily at the show, but when we went back to the hotel, there was some inputs being placed on the phone. But 100%. So I'll go next real quick. I'll be real quick on this. As a sim racer that is always chasing lap time, I'm here to tell you guys, and I want to tell you straight to the face, motion does not slow you down. It does not. It is a different input that you have to get used to. And it took me 3 laps to figure out what is happening to me and what is the car doing to my body. Because now I have that connection which doesn't exist right now. If you don't, the only connection I have is vibrations and the steering wheel and the pedal. But that doesn't tell me what the rear side of the car or the sides or the front is really doing and how far is it doing it. So we jumped in motion rigs, and we jumped in very expensive ones, and we jumped in. It was funny, right? Because we jumped in a $175,000 setup, and then we go down to the 18,000 thing. It's like, oh, that doesn't sound too bad, but it's still $18,000. You know what I mean?
Dude, I was like,
So
oh,
that's
18's
cheap.
not
Like,
bad.
Yeah, but when
And
it's
then I was
sitting
like,
next to a $100,000 setup, I mean, it's a deal, right?
Yeah, that's a hell of a bargain, man. 18
Yeah.
grand. But
Yeah.
let's come down from the clouds a little bit. That is a very costly, upgrade. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't slow you down. And in my personal opinion, with the time that I've had, it's more of an 80-20, 80% immersion and 20% information. And that is my opinion on motion. Is it worth it?
Great point.
I absolutely believe so. If it doesn't break the bank, I don't want you guys to skip on all the fundamentals that we talk about on the Chicane podcast on what a rig should have. This is very end game. This is the very last thing you should be doing, in my personal opinion. And that's
Definitely.
that's
I
my
think that
those are my
80-20,
thoughts.
80-20 analogy is perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree. Yeah.
That's what I got out of it. Because, and I'll end with this. I came back home and I had jet lag, and I text the guys and Mike. I was like, screw jet lag. I'm going on the rig. And I didn't really miss, like, it didn't destroy me like I thought it was. I was like, man, when I come back to a static rig, it's going to mess me up. I'm going to want the motion. Actually, contrary, my rig is actually highly optimized, and I'm sure Jeff's is optimized, and Eric's and Michael's to their personal cater. The setups that were set up at the expo are, they're not personalized to you. So when you come back to your setup, you feel good. You're like, oh man, that the wheel feels exactly how I want to feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not rushing into motion. That's what I'm going to say. We did add something that will maybe push a little, which we will cover on the next episode. And Jeff's excited. But I think it gives us time to play with this new piece of tech first before we speak about it. But yeah, I'll give it up to whoever's next, or whoever wants to go next.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go next. And I kind of share some of the same thoughts as far as, motion not slowing you down, how quickly you can get used to it, and also just what aspect of motion make the most, kind of have the biggest impact, right? So same point, like the big crazy rig at the corner of the Simicube booth with the triple 77s, like we got in that and it was like, oh man, like this is what motion feels like. This is crazy. But then it kind of came down very quickly to, the finer details, right? Not necessarily so much the show. And I think after the first day when we went to the bar, I think we kind of were agreeing like the rigs in this random bar actually feel like something that we can kind of get used to, and I can see myself using on a daily basis. And actually thinking about motion as something that actually shouldn't be the star of the show, right? It shouldn't be like the main piece of your experience. It should just kind of fade to the background and just kind of be some, like you said, Jason, like some more immersion and some more data, but it can quickly go past that and kind of be like a distraction.
Correct.
And
Could be too much, which was Jeff's point. So all ties into the same. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So I think that kind of being consistent with us is interesting.
And I love the fact that we can have a conversation about this, because that's one of the goals of the show, is to give you the real talk about things.
Yeah.
For those that couldn't make it. But let's hear Mike, because Mike has motion and he's tested quite a few other platforms as well. So let's hear from you, Mike.
Yeah. I want to add a few things. I mean, I've had my fair share of time on motion platforms, over the years since I started the channel. It's given me the opportunity, invites to events and places to try different things, and then eventually led to D-Box sending me over the unit that I have in my rig right now, that's been on my rig for, I don't know, 8-10 months now, I think, and become very much melded into my sim racing experience now. I think first thing I want to mention, I think, like, depends on what you're after, right? So I kind of break it into 3 categories. There's the ultra competitive e-racing sim racer who is competing at the highest levels or really chasing the fastest lap times. They will often want to remove any potential for slower lap times or anything that might throw their steering off or throw them off. Anytime this debate comes up, someone will throw out Max Verstappen said he's much faster without motion, would never use motion for sim racing because he's trying to be the best and fastest sim racer in the world, which I don't know if he is right now. He might be. And that's fair. For me personally, I don't think it's made me necessarily slower. I do agree with, like, Jason, like the things that I've noticed over the last 10 months or so is that I can now drive from different physical feedback and cues that I think makes me a better driver. But the key is, the other side is the immersion, the person chasing ultimate immersion, which is, like, for me, is the biggest priority in sim racing. It was the biggest priority from the beginning, which is why I made a roof for my rig back in the day, which is why I immediately wanted to go to triples, because I wanted to feel like I was sitting in a car. The reason why I love things like the belt tensioner and all these things that add immersion first is what I'm after. And the same reason people with endless bank accounts will spend the $100,000 to have.
I wish.
Well, they'll say, I want the best, most immersive simulator I can buy. They will get in that, what's the name again? Racing. I always screw this up.
Driven Dynamics.
I keep wanting to say Racing Dynamics. I don't know why. And they will say, yeah, I want this. And then there's a third category, which is professional real life driver. And I've spoken to many of them, and I've spoken to many of the companies that make some of these high-end motion systems who have made and spec'd systems that are in drivers' homes today, champion winning drivers, because there are drivers that need the motion to train, because they can't train completely from a static sim rig, because that's not the full experience when they get on a track. So they need to have all those layers, because drivers drive from the seat of their pants, right? How they feel. And they need that. I've talked to a lot of pro drivers that they like, I can't drive a static rig. It just, like, does not feel like my car. So yeah, and there's at all different budgets and levels. When you go to these we're at this expo, there was a motion system there for everybody in those, potentially in those categories, or in different budgets. For me, I absolutely love having it. If it wasn't here tomorrow, I would miss it, right? But that being said, I also had a great time when my rig was static too, and was having fun. But for me, it's taken the immersion to another level. So yeah, that's my bit on motion.
I guess it's something that, for you, the sim racer that's building your rig, and when I look at my setup, I still can't believe that this is in the house. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, how the hell did we get here? And it's a lot of stuff. But I guess, when I was growing up, my parents always told me, don't go after the first thing you see. There's always going to be something better. If you just hold on, you wait. And I guess that's what I would end up with motion, that it's got a good pathway to success with all the different, exhibitors. We had so many different exhibitors showing off their motion platforms and giving you options to upgrade, or giving you an entry to say, hey, if you can't afford this, start here, and then you can add this piece, you can add that piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's true. It's a good point.
I asked them if they would take a post-dated check, and they didn't answer back. But want to have a live coach available on demand? With Trophy AI, you'll be able to practice with Mansell AI at your convenience. A real-time coach in your headphones to navigate and guide you through the track, helping you achieve race pace. This tool is awesome as it provides full brake, throttle, and steering telemetry on screen with the live review getting you ready for your next big race. Check links to Trophy AI in the description, and also use Chicane 12 in all caps for a 12% discount.
More of these companies need to offer financing, like
we need a payment plan, bro, like a 30 fix.
You finance a car. Some of these cost more than my car. Actually, a lot of them cost more than my car.
Like a fee simple, fee simple, 30 fix, APR, so that way it doesn't.
Yeah, they're definitely missing out for sure.
One last thing, I guess, is the smiles per mile on a motion rig.
Is
off the charts.
Perfect smiles per. I love this.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't see a single person on a rig that was motion that wasn't like having the time of their life.
No, you didn't see anybody that said,
"Oh, that was it."
Yeah, that was whack.
First time. Yeah.
I didn't mean a single person that said, "Oh, I didn't like motion," because they'd be lying to you, bro.
100%.
You'd be. Oh yeah, Mike was over there just cracking up watching me, and it was cool, man. It's like that right there. I had Mike's a buddy now. He's a buddy of mine. That's a good buddy of mine, and I heard him from the corner of my my ear, and I was like, man, I better not crash this car, bro.
Peanut guy back there.
Everybody crashes when they get in a motion rig for the first time. Everybody.
And a different setup, right? Because like I said,
that was my claim. Different setup.
Different setup. The force feedback wasn't really, it wasn't to my liking, and I wasn't that guy that was going to freaking sit there and spend 20 minutes in a rig doing laps. And I'm like,
there's 75 people waiting.
Yeah, there's people waiting. And, the Chicane Podcast, we were very humble. We took one lap, maybe two, and we got out because it's three of us. And,
exactly.
But then again, we tried maybe 7-8 motion rigs. So we got a pretty good amount of time in them.
We definitely got spoiled, though, Jason, starting off.
You started up here.
We started that. I was like, we did this wrong.
It was the first thing that when you walk in, it was like, oh, there they are. Let's get in.
First thing.
That's actually not a bad way to do it, because then you kind of start with the highest, and then you realize as you go down that, okay, these systems are still amazing, and you're getting.
I agree with this.
That's a good point.
That's a great point. Because
that's
it's like
literally what happened.
Like, what am I really missing here? You know what I mean? How crazy do I need this to happen? And I do have an observation, and this came from the SRC squad. They watched the video, the walkthrough video that's on the channel, and they were all making an observation on motion before we move on. And they said that when the motion rig, the 6DOF, was swaying side to side, the picture wasn't. The picture was staying static. So it kind of throws the realism off a little with this, with your physical side swaying, and you're looking this way, when in real life, if you was to sway, the entire front dashboard will sway. So that was an interesting point that the guys, and I'll shout them out here, put out. Yeah. So yeah, I think 4-inch regular might be in the in the ballpark here. But moving on to the next question here. I think it's me, right? No, it'll be Eric. Eric, what we got for the next question?
So speaking of just crazy stuff we saw at the show, something that was deceptively impressive was the wheel from VPG. Right, we got a chance to look at it next to the actual real life version in the car, and just want to get y'all's thoughts on that wheel, because it's another one of those things where you can't describe to people what is really impressive about it. And so, Jeff, what were your impressions of it?
Straight to me.
Ooh, on the spot, dude.
Yeah.
Get him.
So I'll be transparent. I am not when it's, Jason and I kind of go back and forth with some banter that, if it's FIA approved or, it's actually comes a race car. Like
Never
that
said
doesn't
that. I'm
usually,
kidding.
that doesn't sell me. It sells for other people. It's just not my jam, right? But when we got to talk to VPG, which will come out here shortly, and he's talking about how this wheel is made, and you are looking at one and then looking at the other. And if he didn't say anything, you wouldn't know which one was which.
Yeah, that was
unless
crazy,
you
bro.
you knew what you were looking for, you looked on the connectors. Yeah, but if they were straight up, you could not tell. There was the seams for the carbon fiber. Like if you
He
know anything
pointed
about
that out,
carbon
yeah.
fiber, it is not an easy thing to produce. And the SimRacing wheel seems exactly like the one in the real $500,000 Porsche. And I didn't think I was like, once I'd grab it, I'd be like, it's like it's another wheel. Great. But you grab it and the only word that I can say, and I'll use this term a lot when we talk about wheels, is it sings to you. It speaks to you.
Yeah.
Like I can rip some laps with this thing. There's other wheels you get, you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. But you're like, bro, this is in a race car. This is a race car.
Hell yeah, man.
I
can't wait.
I mean, you guys will pile on, but I don't want to go too far into it. But it was just like you opened both of them, and if you weren't listening to him talk about which one was which, you'd be like, oh shit, I forget which one's which. Like I don't want to point in this one and say, hey, that's the race car one. No, bro, that's the SimRacing one. Like it was cool to, and again, that's another one of gentleman, I forget his name, but just talk about the passion oozing out of his product.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jason,
I mean,
let her rip.
so all right, so here I go. As you know, the Porsche Cup car specifically has made me a Porsche fanatic. I've always liked them, but I was never, I don't know, I didn't have that connection. Michael's a huge Porsche guy. We know this. Mikey, I pointed you out here. But now that I have some sort of connection to it, I'm actually watching the races on the F1 subscription of the Porsche Cup. And
great races. Yeah.
Awesome races. They don't go to every track, but when they do, I always make the time for it. And when Jeff went over to Singapore, he was telling me that those Porsches were loud as hell. So I'm kind of jealous now, even more than
I don't know how they produce that much noise out of a car.
They're loud as hell.
But go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
So no, you're good, bro. You're good. This is awesome, man. It's emotional. So Manny comes up and he's like, I have both of them. And I was like, what do you mean you have both of them? Yeah, I got the real wheel. I don't know if it's like $13,000 wheel, compared to.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's very up there. And he had to physically show us the back of the wheel where the pin goes for us to know that is the actual wheel that gets plugged into the car, the real life car. And another thing is that this wheel, not even the real Porsche Cup drivers have seen this wheel yet because the car's not out yet. So we had sim racers that had hands on it before they couldn't even drive with it.
That blew my mind.
Which is crazy. And the weight, the seams, as Jeff pointed out, if you look closely, the only thing different here in the front is the funky switch, the funky thumbsticks. That's it.
Which
Everything
I'm glad
else
they added.
Yeah, I know. Thank God, I know. Yeah. So one thing that I guess closing with the wheel, obviously love it to death, is Manny flips over the wheel and shows me a 3-bolt pattern. And I asked him, why did you put a 3-bolt pattern on this when everybody uses 70 millimeter, as we went over on the last few episodes? I believe we covered, actually last episode we covered, 70 millimeters being the size standard for most automotive, right? Quick releases, And he's like, well, this is how we distribute the inertia force feedback evenly. So it's a triangle. So you have these two in the corner, which will force the feedback into your grips, and then you have the one in the center, which will get that. So it creates like a sphere. I I tried to get into a rig that had it. We had spotted it. It was like hunting. You know, I think Mike and I went on a hunt for it. It was like, dude, we need to find the Porsche. We need to race it. Like, I know it's here somewhere. And then we saw it randomly at the Podium 1 booth, and we was like, there it is. But there was a line. So but
Yep.
I miserably failed to give it a go. But overall, you know, Manny tells all of us, take the wheel and try to break it. Remember, Jeff? And I literally twisted this thing with the intent of breaking it with the fear of having to pay for it. So, and I tell you, I have nothing but great things to say about it. And even their Mustang wheel, which I wasn't a fan of, immediately became a fan of it because that was the wheel that was being used on that Driven Dynamics sim. And yeah, I got a lot of respect for VPG Sim, and I can't wait to get their products in here when the wheel finally drops. But those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mikey, what you think?
Yeah, I'll go next. Yeah, I mean, I'll have an early review unit here, so I'm looking forward to like spending some extended time with it. But yeah, 100%. My first impressions when I got to, you know, kind of interview and do an unboxing with Manny and Mike, similar to what you guys did, and then take a few laps with it on the streaming room spoof there, right? Which had I think it had a Simicube 2 Pro. You know, I everything that I knew about this wheel leading up to this, and everything that I understood that was going into it. I mean, this is a first in the sim racing market, you know, launch coinciding with the launch of the real car. So you've got the sim racing wheel launching at the same time as the new car is being announced. This is extremely rare. This has never happened before. You know, what VPG is doing now, ever since they've got sort of acquired and looped in with BF1 Systems, who makes these GT3 wheels for real cars, has been for many years at the highest level. This is a new category of sim racing wheels, in my opinion, right? It's a completely new category. It's not a replica. It's hard to call it a replica when it's not trying to replicate something. I have Thrustmaster Ferrari F1 wheels here that I would call a replica because it's trying to replicate it, but it's nowhere close to the manufacturing of the real Ferrari F1 wheel. This is a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Right. So,
right.
Yeah,
You can't call it a replica. That's a great point. He was very direct on that. This is not a replica. This is made using the same materials in the same factories. It's one giant piece of carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Same
The only
thing.
difference is the electronics, obviously the race wheel gets fitted with a QR, but the QRs are similar to some sim racing QRs. But yeah, I mean, all this to say, my first impressions were extremely positive. You know, I've tested so many sim racing wheels now that as soon as I put my hands on something, I know immediately what I'm looking for and what red flags I'm looking for. And they weren't there for me. Like, buttons really felt good. Paddles felt good. Like, if I wasn't getting a review unit, I would have, ordered that wheel right there, sight unseen, right? And I'm probably still going to have to. So,
100%.
but yeah, but I will, I'll have more to say when I have it here. But I mean, with wheels, like I said, it's pretty simple. Driving with it felt really. I have some experience with VPG wheels because I did review the VPGT, which was, it's a non-licensed wheel, but very clearly Porsche inspired, obviously, from the GT3.
I love the blur thing you did in your video. Check his video out, guys.
Manny said you can do anything you want in the review, just don't show it with a Porsche logo because I would prefer not to get sued by Porsche. I said, well, I don't think you'll get sued.
They got pretty good lawyers too.
I might get sued if I do that. But then I got the Ford Mustang wheel next, and I go, what are you guys doing? And he's like, yeah, we're making this at BF1 Systems, and I'm seeing what's cool is that I'm seeing this evolution of their products now, right? And they took. I asked them some questions about, things there was things about the VPGT, which I didn't like. And they've, taken a lot of feedback and trying to make sure that those are fixed. But also I can't really criticize a real race team and their wheel design. I never will. More for me, it's are you making a wheel that is still
that's realistic,
great for sim racing, but still has the realism. The fact that they added the funky switches, I know it kind of, for some people that wrecks the, it being exactly the same. But honestly, I'd much rather have that because I may use it less if it's not as functional for me.
They're very
And
subtle though. They're all black.
yeah, no, they are very
Can't really
subtle.
see them.
And it's really the only difference from the real one, from what I could see. Paddles are slightly different, but to be honest, I actually like the paddles on the sim wheel than the real wheel.
The real
I
one
don't
is
know.
loud.
There was
Yeah,
some, yeah.
so-
There was one difference, yeah.
Yeah, it like I said, positive first impressions. I can't wait to have it here in review
And the price,
and
dude.
shoot some video with it. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the price.
The price
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
unbelievable for what you're getting.
For what you're getting, and I know
Unbelievable.
there's always going to be someone that's going to have an issue with the price. I've learned this from doing reviews for a long time. But in my opinion, like when you think about what's gone into that wheel, no one understands what their true cost is, but that price seems extremely fair to me on what I'm being told.
Licensed
my-
wheel too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
That has to be the most affordable Porsche licensed wheel, if I'm not speaking too soon, currently available, at least in the modern times.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of these Porsche wheels from Fanatec are like licensed, but they're just kind of
They're not being made at those
inspirational wheels.
factories, so they don't have the
Yeah.
same.
No, but they're not
materials.
even replicating an actual Porsche wheel. They just have a Porsche logo.
Oh, they just
right?
have the
Even-
brand on it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Moza's coming out with a GT3 RS inspired wheel, which is officially like it's licensed. They have the rights to have the brand, but what Manny and Mike are doing at VPG are building like the actual wheel. So that's why I said this is a new category of sim racing wheels, not replicas. These are like one-to-one examples, and I would love to see more of this. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I have a
agree.
weakness for this, but Eric, let's hear your thoughts, brother.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Ditto everything you guys said. I did, just kind of as we're talking, and just since I've touched it and just processing what I experienced with it, because it was different, right? Like you're saying, Mike, like not even having a lot of experience with a lot of different wheels, just from the ones at the Expo and the ones I have, it felt different. And I think the weight had a lot to do with it because
Oh, yeah.
I think Manny spoke about it. Like most people are kind of conditioned weight equals quality, weight equals strength, weight equals durability. Like there's a certain amount of weight that we're kind of conditioned to associate with things that are quality. And you kind of have to rethink that with this wheel. And just I had a scale that I use around the house, and I was curious because I think he said the wheel weighed like less than a kilogram or something like that. Like it was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I took my GT Neo and I weighed it. And granted, it has a QR on there and everything, but it was like 1,500 kilograms. So
Wow.
like it's so, and then also who was it? Cube Controls was there, and they had their new wheel. And just kind of out of my, we were looking at their presentation, they were very proud that their wheel weighed 1,100 kilograms.
The
And
Astra.
So just kind of, the Astra. Yeah, and so just, like I said, not having a lot of experience, like, and just looking, like, the more I look around, I'm like, they really, like you said, Mike, it's different. Like, I don't, it's one of those things I don't think other companies can even really copy if they wanted to, for the most part.
Yeah, it really changes the driving experience. Having used a few of them now, and it doesn't surprise me that you noticed that right away, because it's not a gimmick like the weight thing. And the thing is to go lower in weight but keep quality and strength. Carbon fiber, but carbon fiber done right.
And actual carbon fiber, you know what I mean? And a solid mold of carbon, not stitched together or whatever they do. But I have, you guys already know I'm gonna put this wheel through absolute hell. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
and
it can take it. I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure if I find anything, you'll hear about it. On the very next episode, whenever that happens, immediately. So I'm excited. I think it was great to meet Manny and have a one-on-one with him, unboxing video, which was coming out soon. Michael has his out already, I believe so. So check that out.
Yep.
Check out his channel. And we're moving on to the next question. We have just two more. We'll be wrapping this up, because if you let us, we will be here for hours talking about this. You guys got to go. You just got to, next time there's a sim racing expo out there, if when George does this again, you need to go. Honestly,
anyone that was on the fence, like, I really hope this is happening next year. Like, if you were on the fence this year, like, just as soon as the tickets are available, as soon as you can book your flight, hotel, whatever, just I would do it, honestly.
Not a single negative. I've never seen a single negative comment out there about the show not being good enough, or it's not worth it. No,
or
there
just
was
for the social aspect,
Yeah.
Speaking
If
of
you
that,
see
Mike,
us there, just find us in the bar after. Come hang out. We'll talk sim racing.
Yeah, we'll be at the gathering. That
So-
was the meetup. That was the rendezvous. Remember?
So,
The gathering.
speaking of that, so what a bunch of sickos we are. So we go to the expo, right? So
Wait, what?
8 hours of talking sim racing, getting in rigs, racing. Then we go to dinner. Everybody's talking about sim racing. And then what do? Somebody finds a sim racing bar, right?
Yeah.
Which is awesome, right? It's drinking
Yeah.
and driving. Fantastic. It's a bar.
Don't
and
do
this
that in real
place-
life.
Yeah, we're not condoning this. But
Well, because
this
we
bar-
want drinks, but we don't want the sim racing to stop. So it was perfect.
It was awesome. So this bar, it was Sim Racing
South Barrington.
South Barrington is the name.
Shout out to Sim Racing South Barrington.
Dude, the owner was legit, dude.
This place was legit. I mean, when they said we're going to a sim racing bar, my expectations were really low on what they were going to have as far as sim racing setups. I said, guys,
Logitech.
don't get
Yeah,
excited about
exactly.
not that just that
Nothing wrong with it.
setups, that the setups are maybe not. We just got off of like really high end setups, and
I'm so
when we
sorry for
get
anybody
there-
using a Logitech out there. I apologize.
If you let me finish, it was gonna.
I know what he means.
It
Let
was
him
nothing.
finish because the
Yeah.
context.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. As I'm getting
Love
ran
you,
over on
Jeff.
the bus here.
I really do.
So Mike, 100% with you. I was like, we just got in, like you said, out of like world class rigs. We go there, and boy, did it totally different story, 180 degrees from what I think. I'm not speaking for all of you. I'm speaking for me, but I think this probably is accurate. 180 degrees from what we anticipated. You have a super nice bar, some places to sit, eat, order
Looked
food.
really cool inside. Yeah.
But it had, was it like 15? Was that a probably accurate number for a number of rigs?
10. It was 10.
Was it 10? Okay, 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full motion,
All of them.
Yeah.
Every
triples,
single one of them had motion.
Simicube.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Houston Vault.
Simicube on
Houston
all.
Vault.
Houston Vault, yeah.
It- so-
OLED. They had two premium setups.
Yeah.
with
55
big
inch triple
55.
OLEDs.
Like if you're gonna do a sim racing bar, like do it right. They did it right, and then we figured out. I won't spend too much time on this, but Jay and I got talking, which we do, and we met the owner, and
You made him an offer you can't refuse, basically. No, I'm
the
just
owner
kidding.
turned out to be a really nice guy in the construction industry, and it was his partner who was really into sim racing, and they got this idea like, let's do this, and they both relied on each other's skills, and it's clear like the place looks amazing, and then you've got really well tailored, thought about sims, right? That could only come from someone who knows something about sim racing beforehand. So shout out to those guys if you're in the area, and if you're going to the expo next year, like that's the after party right there, honestly.
And mind you, I want to add to this that we were getting in motion rigs and having a few drinks after a heavy meal of pasta and pizza, and we're just shaking all of that up in a simulator, which was it was interesting. It was
And they're all
interesting.
running
Yeah.
iRacing. So you are
Oh,
racing
that's the other
with
thing, yeah.
everybody else, and you're all on headphones talking, smack to everybody else.
Yeah, open mic. That was
Shout
cool.
out to Lawrence DeSalza and the Potato Nation. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
a direct call out. They whooped our butts.
Yep.
And they had it on the screens on the top with Mazda's MX-5s. It was a great time, and overall, hanging around with the Potato Nation, they
great community.
great guys, man.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
down to earth, nice. You
They are
know,
a strong community too.
they were
Yeah,
always
definitely.
texting like, "Yo, we're going here to dinner. You guys want to come with? Do I need to reserve like the Uber?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Hell yeah, we're going over there." I was
Yeah.
like,
We were like guest Bonado Nation members for like the weekend. They like,
yeah, we were
yeah,
prospects, bro.
yeah.
We were prospects.
That's what I love about the people there. Like I said, everybody was just including everybody. And if you weren't there, they were texting you, we're going here. Like nobody felt left out that I know of. I certainly didn't. So that was cool.
Even the fans that showed up to this, I extended invites. You know, I didn't.
Mhm.
We met gentlemen's at the bar. We met them all over the
Yep.
place,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Hey, you guys want to hang? This is where we're gonna be at. So if you guys want to hang out, because honestly, I'm not a celebrity. We're all sim racers. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's the truth. You know, I breathe the same air you breathe. I just don't have a motion platform, and I'm upset. That's the
You're
only
gonna correct
thing.
that soon.
Not only did they had two of their rigs that had the, was it the yaw?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 60.
Traction loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. That was the only time
Yeah.
I ever felt like I had any level of control in the Porsche GT3. That was the only time.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Every other
Yeah,
time I
it
get in
was-
there, it's a dumpster fire.
Well, any extra feedback you can get on the back end sliding out on a car like that, that is
Yeah.
helpful. Like that, I mean, I know we could talk about motion all day, but I find
yeah.
that those extra feedback can make you a better driver in some cases. So yeah.
It went a long way.
I think
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I think the most impressive thing for me about the bar was that you had 10 rigs that you were letting random people drinking alcohol use, and they worked. To my knowledge, nobody really had any like major issues, or if they did, they weren't like just consistent. I got one rig, and I feel like it's not Russian
I
roulette.
drink
They were
in this
really
rig.
prepared.
I drink
They
in
had a
this rig
guy-
all the time.
Yeah.
Especially on the Chicane podcast.
Yeah.
they had like two guys on standby in charge of everything,
Yeah.
and they would come
Well-
and check on you if anything. It was really well done.
Yeah. Well
Yeah,
maintained.
I think people that go in there when they see the setups, they there's a certain level of respect. But I'm sure they've had something dropped on them at some point.
Yeah.
Who knows? That comes with the territory of owning a sim racing bar, I guess.
Yeah.
I will say the one downfall of that bar, the one,
Oh, let's hear this.
the old fashions didn't hold a candle to the one in the hotel.
Oh,
Oh no.
But it's
yeah.
hard to do right there, man.
all
Hard
right.
to do.
So if the owner's watching this episode,
Yeah.
you know, we need to something we can remedy very easily.
Yeah. His
Um,
name is
yeah, you know a guy.
Not a
and
knock
he
on-
works at the Renaissance.
Yeah, not a knock on the bar, the sim racing
That
bar.
was funny as hell, bro, Jeff. So this bartender shows up the first night we're there. He's like, I make the best old fashions in the world. And the guys all look at each other and was like, what is up with this guy?
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
You ordered one of those, bro?
I've heard
Every
that
day.
line before, but that sometimes it's
It was good. It was good.
It was
I just want to give a shout out to
yeah.
the owner. I'll probably end up forwarding him this episode. Thank you so much for allowing us to go in there, and the humbling experience, and so welcoming in a nice quiet area. You know what I mean? It's very nice location, huge parking lot. We were impressed with what you got going on there. It's kind of like a dream come true, because I would like to do something like that one day. Mike and I were talking about all kinds of stuff, like we could do this, and we could do that, and we.
I know.
It's it was great. So
Just needs to rename it to drinking and driving. That's my only.
my
piece of
hope is
feedback.
my hope is that this will be the official meetup spot for the after hour party in Schaumburg.
100%.
This
Totally
has
doable.
to be it. And
It's like
it's
15
they got
minutes
the
from the place.
Andretti. They got the Andretti Center opening next year too.
There you go,
right?
man.
Oh,
Cool.
man.
So
And guess what?
some-
The craziest
some
Uber
karting
drivers
stuff?
I've ever met
Yeah.
have been out of that park.
Out of Chicago, it's suburbs.
Yo, there's something
Yeah.
about Schaumburg. We met the king of Schaumburg, but that's a story for
Yeah.
another day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently
maybe if
there's
you
a
want to
king.
hear the stories, you can email these guys.
Okay.
Offline, if you want to talk to us, we'll tell
Well,
you
I
some
appreciate
stories.
that, Mike. That is accurate. You can email us at the chicanepodcast@gmail.com. And for the final question, overall thoughts, fellas. I mean, we've pretty much summed up everything our entire time there. But what are your overall thoughts on this expo? And just very briefly, what do you expect from the next one, the next, iteration of it?
I'll go first.
There you go. Come on,
If everybody's
bite.
still thinking here.
Yeah.
I think first things first, George absolutely friggin' crushed it. Okay, I think first things first sim racing expo in the United States. He convinces the top dogs of sim racing to commit to come across the pond. I didn't meet a single person that was that wasn't happy they went, happy that they traveled if they drove 3, 4, 6 hours. We talked to people taking time off from their work that, we talked to one of our listeners has 2 jobs and, a number of kids, took time out of there to make it up there and was having the time of his life. The community, it just was awesome to talk to the people. The technology and the rigs are cool, but talking with people that have the same passion, what a bunch of sickos, right? We went to the rig, the expo, to the bar, to the after hours, wake up at 6 to go to breakfast to talk sim racing.
It's going to be our group name, the Sickos. Why?
The Sickos, right? It was just
they got Potato
awesome.
Nation, but we got the Sickos from the Chicane Podcast. I like
just
that.
Awesome to hang out with people that have a shared passion of something. That was the expo was just like the gathering, the mecca for sim racing for the United States. Can't wait to do it again. George, get a couple nights sleeps, start planning the next one. We're coming.
Yeah, I haven't bothered the man because I'm pretty sure.
I know he's trying to catch up.
He's busy dismantling rigs now, and I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to even think about the cleanup. But we had to get on an airplane, George. So my bad. Sorry about that. But who's next? It sounds like Eric wants to go next. So let's.
I kind of second. Definitely shout out to George. What he pulled off was amazing. It just kind of shows his dedication, the thoroughness, the research he was doing. He didn't just, sit at a computer and look up some stuff and make phone calls. Like he flew around the world to other expos and took notes and asked questions. And, he really wanted to make sure that this was the best representation of, for the US and also, for the people that were coming to it. So, once again, great job, and thank you for your dedication to the community, George. As far as next year, really the only thing that I would add, because we talk about all the sim racing stuff, but I mean they had flight cockpits and all kind of other VR and flight stuff there as well. I guess it's more accessory manufacturers. I think we kind of mentioned people that made button boxes or dashes or anything like that. That really was the only thing that I would have liked to see that wasn't there.
That's a good point, Eric.
Great.
That's a great point. That's a good observation, actually. Yeah, man.
Because some stuff, you want to, they can make some sales for sure. I can't afford to drop 18 grand on a motion rig, but I might have had a button box that I've been looking to replace, or something I saw online or in one of Mike's videos, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Now that I put my hands on it, go ahead and get me one.
And I could have saved $20 on shipping.
That's a good. I think that's a great data point for George. So I'll wait and see if he watches the episode, if he has time, because that poor man. But we're super proud of you, George, and I'll get this data input from Eric straight to you, or Eric if you want to message him as well. All good.
Yeah, I can hit him up. I didn't know if he's gonna do a kind of after action type.
There's got to be. I would hope he would, right? I think he is.
Knowing him, definitely.
Yeah, there's some surveys. I think I heard there's some surveys coming out.
Yeah.
If I heard that right. So
okay.
I think that's the right
so
thing
guys,
to do.
if we get the links to these surveys, we will post it down below. And if we need those, George needs those, and we need to keep this alive. We need to finish off what we started here, what he started and we're supporting, but we need to give him that just little bit of support, right? At the tail end before we close it down. But Mike,
pretty strong.
that's
Yeah.
right, man. Mike, you're up next, brother, and then I'll close
Yeah.
out with my thoughts. Yes, sir.
So yeah, echo a lot of the thoughts here. Completely exceeded my expectations. Like huge kudos to pulling off something like this. I mean, first time I met George in person was in Germany last year at the ADEC as he was doing research on a expo that's been doing something like this successfully for years to learn, and that just shows how invested he was in wanting to put the best foot forward for this first expo, and I think he's achievement unlocked. I definitely would have liked to have seen, this being the idea was that this was going to be a simulation expo for all simulation. There were some flight stuff there. There was some, different kind of rigs, but I would love to see more of that because I was actually really excited to kind of see some other stuff and understand some of the other simulators. And I think that will come in time. I think that, SimRacing is obviously kind of the bigger sort of one and more well-known, I guess, to more people. And you had that covered off by a lot of manufacturers, but totally agree with Eric, like more accessories, more smaller companies to kind of fill up the expo would be great. And I think that will come. In Germany, they had a place like a shop. You could literally go and buy like a bunch of different things. So there's all kinds of things that could come in the future. But I think it was just everything fantastic. And then the community aspect of it, outside of the hardware was just incredible to be a part of that. And I'm so glad to be a part of this first year. I think, it will be a memory and go down in history for a long time. So
Definitely.
Yeah. I think we'll never forget this one. Being the first one in the US, being the first time I met Eric, being the first time I met Michael, being the first time for many things, cover an event like this. It's a lot. It's a lot that I want to put out, but I want to start off with thanking the guys here, and also Michael. You walked with us. You helped us on whatever it is. We were all
same to you. You helped. You were my cameraman a couple of times, so I appreciate that.
No problem, man.
This wouldn't have been the same for me if you three weren't at the expo. I don't think I would have had the same experience. So I was
just gonna say that, bro.
That I got to meet you guys in person there. Honestly,
took it away. You took that right away, which is no, but that's good. That's good that we're mutual, man. Because honestly, and this is kind of a different approach. What I'm about to say now, but sometimes we're in a stage in our lives that this is what we love to do, and to be able to experience something together and smiles and look at each other and know exactly what we're all thinking is
well said.
You know what I mean? It's a very surreal thing, because 20 years from now, who knows, because we all live in the moment, right? There was a point where all I wanted to do was golf, and now I don't really play golf no more. I don't have time for it. So I think it's very important to appreciate those moments that you have with each other while we still can do this, and meeting the fans, hanging out with the creators. No creator came across my way as being too high or having too much of a following to hang out with us. They were all humble. They were all down to earth. The people at the expo, the CEOs that we've met 3 of them, and they were all super nice and very welcoming, treated everyone with respect. The facility was clean. George was awesome. It was very hard to find him, so we had to hunt him down because the man was being pulled in 10 different directions. And at one point, I felt bad. I was like, man, I really want him to have a little bit. And we had that one time, that one event. It was a private Simicube event that we had where they revealed the new product, which I'm pretty sure everybody has heard the news by now. I actually saw him get into a motion rig.
I have it on video. I was watching it today.
It took a lot of peer pressure.
It made me smile.
Yeah, we had to force him in. I was like, dude.
It's like, you, get out. George, get in.
Yeah.
Do some laps, George.
That was his first motion rig, right?
It was, yeah.
That was his first time in a motion
rig. I thought he
again.
was lying about that. I thought he was joking.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that boy can drive.
Oh, yeah, he can.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He could drive.
He drove the hell out of this car.
This now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
he
is
wasn't
part of
playing
life.
George
around.
has been running leagues for a long time. He knows what he's doing.
Even his face
Yeah.
changed, bro. He went into
Oh, yeah.
full lock mode. He was like,
Yeah, he
"I'm
locked
gonna
in for
drive the
sure.
hell out of this
Yeah.
thing."
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to thank Jeff and Eric for supporting the channel and the show and representing the Chicane podcast with pride. And it was a very revealing moment for me when I went in there and I saw all the fans, right? Because we get emails, we get comments, but being stopped on the show floor
Yeah,
and someone
that's
asking
cool.
for Jeff and someone asking for Eric, and they're like, I want a picture, all three of y'all together. And I'm having to take my phone, and I was like, where are you? Get over here right now.
Yeah.
So I think that
Humbling.
yeah, it's very humbling,
Yeah.
and it makes me that much more confident in the Chicane podcast and its future. I think that I think we legitimize ourselves just a little more by going to this event and having the coverage on it. So again, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all three of you. Michael has always supported us since day one, since the very beginnings of the show. He comes onto our show with no we don't pay him, to be on the show. He's here at his own free will. And it's kind of late in Canada, so before I need to wrap
Almost
this
midnight.
up. It's almost night time.
That's
It's
okay.
almost night time. So
Yeah.
I will say this: shout out to the King of Schaumburg. You know who you are. You made our you made our
Inside
night
joke.
and day. Shout out to Eric, Tech Gen Gaming, upcoming channel, Tech Gentleman, very established tech channel, and Jeff Smart's Smart Living. So shout out to all of you. Thank you so much. And that's really my overall. My overall was you need to come. It's not something that we could talk about this all day. You can see videos on it from the different creators out there, the plethora of options out there for you to go and follow, but nothing beats hands-on experience, like we've always said here. Nothing. Putting your hands on something is very different than seeing it in a picture and a video. There's a lot of things that are very perspective wise. It's not, I'm lost to words. You need to go
Can't
there.
describe it.
I may
Yes.
feel like one grip is great for me, and you may put your hands on it and go, it's not. So there's just certain things that are subjective with hardware. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. One alibi, right quick. The Houston field wheel. Don't believe anybody who hadn't touched it.
Oh yeah.
If they hadn't touched their steering wheel, don't believe what they say.
Stay tuned for Eric and I did an interview with the CEO, and his story was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And it's nothing shy of what Jeff mentioned.
Exactly.
Just a
Lines up
regular guy wanting to do things for his love of the hobby. That's how it all starts, But I think this is going to be it for the close of the expo. Once again, thank you everybody. If there's no round tables, a quick moment of silence for that one.
I got one quick one if I can, Jason.
Yes, sir.
10 seconds. Just the level of people that are there when it comes to sim racing and sims in general. So did you guys see the full cockpit of the 737 that was there?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm walking past it. I'm like, this is pretty cool. And there's a kid in there, left seat, and he's struggling. This guy leans in, right? And he's like, hey, buddy, can I jump in and try to help you out? And the kid's like, yeah, sure. This guy jumps in and he's like, chick, 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 chick,
Oh, he's a
chick.
pilot.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
bruh, something tells me you got a little experience doing this. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm a pilot. And I'm like, I got a couple hours. What are you certified? He's like, oh, I got a couple thousand hours in the 737. This dude
Wow,
flies the
that helps.
737,
Yeah.
comes to a sim episode and he's looking at all the sim stuff for the 737.
Right. He's
Bruh,
probably
I'm
wanting
like-
to get more flight hours
Yeah.
in it,
Wild.
It's
He's like,
crazy.
I somehow missed that booth. I feel like
It was
I
way off
totally
to the
missed
corner.
that.
It was like,
Yeah.
the VR section. It was like just
Oh,
across
okay.
from it.
It was a full.
at the very
And it looks
Seats.
small when you look at it from a distance. You're like, and then you roll up, and it's like a whole there's like a roof over it, like the whole
Thousands of buttons.
No matter
yeah,
what
that
with these
is.
expos, you always miss something. That's why you got to go back again.
I'm pretty sure we missed a few things, honestly.
Yeah.
We were trying to make time for everybody, and everything,
Yeah, it's tough. And I mean, we're there for 3 days, right? And you still miss
And-
things because
Every day I was completely exhausted, from but it wasn't exhausted in a bad way. It was a good exhausted.
yeah.
And then
excitement, energy.
and then we
fun,
get the text,
yeah.
bro. We get the Call of Duty. We're like, oh, okay, I guess we're going to the gathering, and that was the meetup. And from there, all the great ideas happen, all the great discussions. We found out everything from there. So, I guess
I just want to say one last thing.
Yes,
Thanks again,
please.
guys, for having me on and let me roll with you guys at the expo. Like I said, it wouldn't have been the same without hanging out with you guys. So thanks for having me back on the show and letting me share the stories and insights. Appreciate it. Kind of feel like I'm reliving the drinks and hanging out.
I know,
I don't have a Manhattan, not a Manhattan, an old fat.
a Manhattan would have been good too, man. Honestly.
Yeah, whatever. I'll take that too.
Yeah, that'll do too. And I will replicate what you said earlier. If any of the guys here, Eric or Jeff, it was the unison of everybody that made this way better than what it. You know what I'm saying? The after hours. We were never at this hotel. We were at the bar, and then we were getting a taxi to get out of there to go to another sim racing place to go and drive together. And it's just, I wish I can reset and just relive it again, because I can't believe the amount of fun that I've had at this event. And meeting Eric for the first time, 15 years, that's just wild, dude. Like, it's wild.
It's crazy.
So anyways, guys, it's hard to even close on this episode, because now that we're done, we can move on from the expo. Stay tuned on the channel, on the YouTube channel, for you audio listeners out there, please. We're going to have, I think it's 4 or 5 videos come out on the channel. So if you're interested in those interviews, please support the channel. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. Check out Tech Check Gaming. Check out Michael from the Sim Racing Den. Check out Jeff Smart's channel,
Smart Living 808.
Smart Living 808. And with that, guys, thank you so much, and have a great start of your week.